Well, we're going to go, I think we'll go ahead and get started. We probably have most everybody joined, and we'll certainly accept others as they come in. Thank you, Holly, for being our technology facilitator. I'm Marilyn Stansberry with IEC Rocky Mountain. And today at our monthly member forum, we welcome Bonnie Trowbridge with Drive Clean Colorado. We had a wonderful meeting a month or so ago to talk about strategy and how we can partner and work together on EV charging installation, service, maintenance, repair. Bonnie will share a little bit about Drive Clean Colorado and its goals, but we really want our contractors and members to get out of the member forum today how you can be a partner, how if you are in this EV charging space or want to be, how you can work with Drive Clean Colorado to make that happen. And we can talk a little bit more about our partnership with Drive Clean and the things that we want to do to support. But with that, I'm going to turn it over to Bonnie. Bonnie, feel free to share, and we will take questions from the chat. Holly can facilitate questions, or we can, in addition, we can open up to questions after your presentation.
Wonderful.
Thanks for being with us.
I'm so happy to be here, Marilyn. Thank you for having me. It's good to see Jason. Nice to see you on the phone again. I just really appreciate this partnership and excited about things that we can get done. I will give a little bit of an overview of Drive Clean, and then an overview of EVs, because I have a feeling I'm probably preaching to the choir here, so I will go quickly, but if you have questions, let me know. But before I get started, I'm just curious, is there anyone on the call who already drives an EV?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Do you use it for work or for just, not work?
Both.
Okay.
But more work, more Monday to Friday commuting.
Nice. Okay.
And an early adopter.
Very good.
Yeah, he's also an early adopter of
Nice. Okay, so Jason is representing here, so thank you for that. And I know I don't have to ask this question, but how many of you have ever installed an EV charger in a garage or in a parking lot? Or, I mean, I'm sure everyone here has done that.
We have.
Wonderful. I know
That's Frontier Controls.
Okay, it's going to be a bigger and bigger part of your world, I believe. And so I want to make sure that we are partnered up so that you're successful and the the EV drivers are successful. And there's just a lot of opportunity here. So Drive Clean Colorado is a nonprofit. We are focused on helping people, helping entities, municipalities, businesses be more clean in their fleet or driving day to day. We always start with, if you can walk. That's always the best way to travel. It's good for everybody, and your body loves it, the environment loves it. If you can't walk, take the bus. If you can't take the bus, there's the hierarchy there. But I think we always settle back on people need transportation, and a lot of people need their car to get to work. It's definitely a very important part of our life. So we want those vehicles to be clean and efficient and saving you money, and that is what Drive Clean is centered on. So we are a coalition. We work together to advance clean transportation in Colorado, very focused on equity as well. We provide advising, connections, and resources to ensure the success of our stakeholders. We focus on clean transportation, as I mentioned. There's a lot of infrastructure that's part of clean transportation. we have a program specific to education, so consumer education especially, but EV education there are so many questions right now, and every time we go to an event, there are people who have great information and people who have not great information. So there's a lot of opportunity there to make sure that we're providing facts and real knowledge about what it's like to drive an EV, how to charge an EV, all the things that make that part of your life. And the other thing that we focus on is grants and funding. So we have access to, excuse me, my voice is still waking up today. We have access to federal grants, state grants. We support people with all kinds of incentives, from the dealer side to the tax incentives for chargers and everything in between. So my next slide is one of my favorite. I just show this, and to be honest, I've been using this slide in presentations for a while, and I know that many of you probably are driving and getting to work, and I appreciate you being here. But the slide shows four pretty, there we go. There's the horn that I'm waiting for. Four pretty
Sorry.
Just making my point, thanks. So it shows the Chevy, oh my goodness, Silverado. So I had a blank there. The Chevy Silverado. It shows the Kia 9, the VW mini bus, and the Jeep. There's I don't know exactly which model that is, but anyway, these are all vehicles that a year ago were not on the road, and currently I have seen every single one of these on the road here in Colorado, except for the VW. I haven't seen the VW van yet, but they're out there. They're coming. People are driving them. I'm sure the most popular vehicle that you see in terms of EVs right now is certainly the Tesla Model Y. It is, I think last year it was the top selling vehicle EV in the world. So millions of those sold. And I know I don't need to talk to you about types of EV charging either, but I did want to talk especially about the range situation. So as you know, we have level 1 charging, which is 120 volt AC. We have level 2 charging, which ranges between 208 to 240. And then level 3, which is the direct current fast charge, which is 400 to 1,000 volts. So I have actually never seen 1,000 in person. I would probably not want to at this point, but we're definitely seeing the 500 volt DC chargers more and more, and that's becoming more and more important. So I think that the range part that I want to talk about is for level 1, depending on your car, you're getting 1 kilowatt per hour coming out of that plug, which for a lot of cars, for most cars, it's between 3 and 4 miles of range per hour that are put onto your car. So for some people who drive 30 or 40 miles in a day, they may never have to have a charger in their garage or in their parking lot, as long as they have access to a 120 plug. So that's an important consideration. And then for level 2, you're charging between 10 and 30 miles of range per hour. So for people who can charge, who drive a little further, or who want to charge in 3 or 4 hours, that's a really great opportunity. And my guess would be that you're probably going to see a lot of these be installed in the next few years. And then level 3, which is what everybody likes to talk about, but it's really, it's the ones you see by the side of the road and so forth. They can range between 50 miles of range per hour added to 350 up to 500. I've seen some of the Tesla chargers that do get up to that 500 mark, which is really exciting. Any questions so far? see the chat. Okay. Moving on, I wanted to talk about just a little bit about fleets and what we're seeing on the large vehicle size. This is actually the school bus fleet at Aurora Public Schools. They have 13 electric school buses now. These are actually not, oddly, these are not their electric school buses. These are their diesel school buses, but you can see the amount of power that they had on site just for their block heaters for their diesel buses. And they'll start to use this power, calibrate this power to be able to plug in their electric buses as they get those up and running. So just another application there. So moving on from that, I wanted to talk about Colorado's EV goal. The state of Colorado in 2020 said we want to have 960,000 EVs on the road by 2030. I don't know why they didn't round up to 1 million. Every time I see that number, it kind of makes me curious about that. But currently we have 93,931 EVs on the road in Colorado as of October 1st. So we're like less than 1/10 of the way there. We've got a long way to go before 2030, but we are seeing that hockey puck increase. We're seeing a couple of years ago, EVs were 2% of cars purchased, 3%, and last year they were 10% of car purchase. In fact, my number here is wrong. It says 6%, but we're up to 10% of new vehicle sales in the most recent months are EVs. So Colorado is third in EV adoption after California and New York. A lot of that has to do with the incentives that we have here in Colorado for EVs, very generous incentives. We have 4,493 level 2 ports that are publicly available, and we have 910 DCFC ports that are publicly available. Compared to, in order to make this jump to EVs happen, we need to see 20,000 public access charging ports by 2030. So I hope that you see that as an opportunity. This is huge. This is a large amount. You know, when we talk with the utilities, they're looking at this going, okay, let's figure out how to make this happen. But I think on the other side of that, we also have to think about the implementation side. So where are these being put? Are they being put in safely? You know, are they going to be accessible? All that kind of stuff. So in addition to those 20,000 public access ports, we need right now, today, we need hundreds of thousands of charging ports at homes, apartments, condos, workplaces, anywhere people sleep. When your car isn't moving, your car should be plugged in when you drive an EV. And so, especially if you're sleeping, so we want to make sure that people have access to charging where they sleep and where they work. Not that you're supposed to sleep when you work, so I should probably separate that. But when your car isn't moving, we want to make sure that this is an important equity opportunity as well, because many people who don't have access to a garage, they may have access at workplaces and, you know, where they shop and so forth. We want to make sure they can charge there. The other side of this that I want to talk about is the #1 problem facing EV drivers today. And I have driven an EV for 5 years, and this is just a thing. So the #1 problem facing EV drivers is chargers out of order. Colorado says that there are 1 out of 4 chargers, publicly available chargers, that are unavailable. In my personal experience, I have not found that to be the case. I find it to be closer to 1 out of 2. So half of the chargers that I drive up to are often offline, unavailable. They're waiting on parts. Their modem is out of order, whatever it is. But this isn't a huge issue. We can't have people driving around and not being able to get to where they need to go because they can't charge. So I very strongly believe here in Colorado, especially, this is going to be an opportunity the state has funding to do a lot of training. I think IECRM is perfectly poised to be able to support this work, and really looking forward to working with all of you on making this a reality where charger is down within a few hours, it's back up and running, not weeks, which is the current timetable. All right, plugging along. You all probably know that your customers want and need charging. I mean, this is if they're calling you about EV charging, you know this. So consumers, retail centers, stores, schools, multifamily housing, community centers, libraries, municipalities, all those things, all those places need and want charging. A lot of the businesses look at it as an opportunity for their customers. Many of them are looking at opportunities for their employees. Of course, multifamily is huge. We want to, and it's a very hard, I guess the multifamily housing, especially existing parking lots, is a very hard nut to crack because parking is already an issue. And then you want to designate parking spaces, and it's just, there's a lot of work to be done there. Funding is available, and DriveClean can help you with that. DriveClean can help your consumers, excuse me, your customers, others that you work with, to access tax credits, utility incentives, rebates, vouchers, grants, all of that, all of those things across the whole spectrum. We can help with that. So I think a lot of people know that there are tax credits for the cars themselves, but people don't realize there are tax credits for the chargers in your garage, at your business, and they're actually very generous tax credits. There are also utility incentives, which I'm sure many of you are aware of, and it just depends on which utility you're working with, but they're there. They have rebates and other opportunities, and then there are local rebates as well for chargers. Denver has a really generous rebate right now for putting chargers in garages. So please reach out to us about that. We can help your customers. We can help you understand, how to talk about that. And I think that's a key part of our partnership is making sure that you have access to that information, but that you don't have to be an expert in that information. You can send people our way, and we can support them in that. The way we support consumers is through our Drive Electric Colorado initiative. We have this public-facing consumer education initiative. Look it up, driveelectriccolorado.org. We have EV, right? Excuse me, what I used to call EV ride and drives, but I've stopped calling them ride and drives because while you do ride and drive, I have to tell you, people get the car thing. I mean, we've been driving cars and you get behind it and you're like, oh, this is zippy, this is interesting, great. But people don't get the charging part. So we really talk a lot more now about charging. So look that up, Drive Electric Colorado. It's another access point for your customers as well. So jumping into the IECRM and the DCC partnership, I want to talk about opportunities for us to work together, both your individual businesses as well as our organization as a whole. So Drive Clean Colorado, through our Drive Electric Colorado initiative, we do outreach events, community events with a capital EV for those of you who can't see, but we do focus on EVs for those, and charging. We do these events 2 or 3 times a week, and we would love you to be there. When you can talk to people and meet people, I think there's a lot of value there. When they can see that, oh, there are people who know how to install the charging. The number one question we get from people is, who should I talk to about getting charging in my garage? And so we do not, we don't say, oh, call my friend Sparky over here. What we would like to do is be able to say, here, look on the list from, this joint list that we have on our website that is all of you members here, and that then helps them answer their own question. Drive Clean Colorado would love to designate a contact here to support you and your clients. So when you call, so direct line to one of my teammates who can answer your questions real time, live. We will never be able to answer questions about electricity. You are the experts in that. But when things about incentives and EV related questions, we can certainly help with that. And so we would like to have a direct line with you all to do that. In terms of, I think we'll continue to do these types of educational things about EVs and charging. There are a number of initiatives happening, one around workplaces. So I think you'll continue to see more from us about just latest trends in EVs and charging. And then when we do get those questions, who do we talk to about installing? Who do we talk to about repairing? We want to be able to direct them to you all. So that's the vision for the partnership. We're still working through a lot of these things, but I would love to hear from you. What would be helpful? You've heard kind of what we're doing out here on the Drive Clean side, but I would love to hear from you what you're doing, what you're seeing, and if there are ways that we can help you.
I couldn't figure out how to unmute on my phone. I got muted along the way. So yes, so if you are an industry partner or electrical contractor, please feel free to unmute and let's have a little bit of dialogue about what you're seeing in the market, what challenges you might be having that might be relevant for Bonnie to know from the Drive Clean Colorado side. I think this is an opportunity to really engage in what's gonna work best for our members. We really do want to let clients and consumers know that if you're doing EV charging, we want to create this directory and resource to be able to help you. Or if this is new business for you, we want to be able to make sure that you're getting incentives and grants and funding so that we can all grow together. Bonnie, I'm going to take just a moment to shout out to Jason Jones, who is the person that made the introduction to us that got all of this this conversation going. And Jason and David Jones and others have been very helpful to us in advancing the EV charger that we have in place at IECRM. We installed an old Schneider EV charger when we first did the renovation at the North Glen campus, and really need to upgrade it. But we also will be now, once we get it installed, we'll be able to make it a community charger for people to be able to, pay to charge, but it'll still be a free member benefit for our members that are driving EV vehicles and come to us and need a place to charge, or even our apprentices if they need a place to charge. So thank you, Jason Jones and David Jones, for making all of that happen. And we are working with the Drive Clean Colorado team on our own grant so that we can get the additional infrastructure funding that we need to install it and get that software and new product up and running. So I'm going to take this opportunity now. Please unmute and let's have a little bit of dialogue.
Marilyn,
Jason
Sharp has his hand raised.
Perfect. Jason.
Hi, thanks for doing this today. I'm excited. My big question is, like, when I go onto Xcel Energy's website, they're pretty limited in who they call approved installers. And I'm wondering, is there an opportunity for the homeowner to directly capture incentives from Xcel, or will Drive Clean Colorado help contractors navigate that process? That's interesting to me.
Yes. So we can help homeowners directly with that. We can also push on Xcel a little bit. They do have their designated partners, although they're not they can't be written in stone. The PUC won't allow them to do that. So there's a lot of, they want to work with people who they feel are reputable, but I think there's a lot of leeway there. So we can certainly help your customers. We can help you navigate that as well.
Could my customer today, if I sold and installed an EV charger for my customer, can that customer access an Xcel Energy rebate?
Yes, because I've seen it happen, but I think there's a lot of arm wrestling that happens right now for that to make that happen. So if it's someone who has a little extra time to write the letter and say, no, you have to do this to work, to do that work, it's not an easy process, but it does happen. So it is something that we are pushing on Xcel for, because we would really like this to be, you can go to whatever dealership you want and buy the cars. You can purchase. We also want them to open up the type of charger that they're endorsing, because I think they have 2, maybe 3 on their list now. And there are so many other good options. So we are actively pushing against Xcel. Xcel is one of our partners, as well as, which I think is great, because it allows us to come in and be like, okay, we're partnering on this thing, and here's what we're hearing. And, we need you to be aware of this. And then we, can also work it from the PUC side, where, just to kind of elevate certain issues like this one.
Yeah, it's preventing me from being excited about trying to sell them.
Okay.
And if Drive Clean Colorado could be the entity that navigates an approved contractor list, I would be much more excited about partnering with you. And then I agree, bidirectional chargers and other technology needs to be included in the process, but it'll be really hard with as much advertising power and brand recognition as Xcel Energy has for me to try to sell something for a consumer, for them to go to Xcel Energy's website and say, I want this rebate. And then for me to say, well, I can go try to arm wrestle for the next 2 months to try to get you one, but that's not a winning business model from my perspective. And then I have unhappy consumers. So it's a huge obstacle for me as a small contractor to even be interested in trying to sell this product when the utility doesn't support me doing it. And the consumer is going to feel either ripped off because they didn't get to participate in an incentive, or put me in a position where it's going to take me a ton of time and energy to try to get it for them. So I would love to partner with you. I would love for you to administer an approved contractor list. I'd love to participate as an approved contractor.
Yeah.
Huge obstacle from my perspective right now.
I hear you. I actually know the person who designs those incentives and rebates. And so he and I will be having a conversation. So thank you. I appreciate that feedback.
Looks like we have a couple of other hands raised. I think Ashley, you are next.
Thank you so much. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I had to switch over to the Zoom platform instead of call in. I couldn't figure out how to unmute myself as well. So my name is Ashley. I'm with the Facility Solutions Group. I just joined a couple months ago. However, I've been in electrical for a couple years now. EV is our new big focus, not just within Colorado, but nationwide. And my VP has tasked me with learning as much as possible how involved we can get. And I've got similar questions to the gentleman right before me, is the rebates and being able to qualify a customer. I've got a customer I'm working with right now, which I was able to do the evaluation and learn, okay, your building is from the 1970s and so is your electrical. You need upgrade. You need a new service altogether if we're going to properly support this. And they're moving forward still, but there's lots of hesitation because, of course, with multifamily, this particular building, we have an HOA to face. And that is their immediate question was, well, what kind of support can we get? Especially because we want to go with EVs. We want to offer this to just our tenants, but the owners of our units. And although they have hesitation, we're still moving forward with drawings and getting them a better idea of how it's going to work, especially working alongside Xcel. We are an Xcel approved vendor. They have just this morning before this meeting actually emailed me saying they're having issues getting input from Excel so that they can get a new service supported, because the transformer that's out there it's just not going to go as easy as we all wished.
Mhm.
How can Drive Clean help support that, or is there any method for that for these older buildings that want to be brought up to date? You know, I understand about the EV portion, but when you have to expand on it and bring them to modern days
Right.
with their buildings and their electrical, we see hesitation and frustration too, and I want to support them better.
Well, the Excel issue is I mean, obviously I should have had a slide in my deck about Excel. So it is a bigger issue than a lot of times I can address. Like I said, we do have connections with Excel, but the side of, you know, getting Excel to do their part of your jobs this is the biggest hang up for everybody. I would love to tell you, Ashley, that there are grants and incentives to make what you're doing, you know, retrofitting an entire building or an entire site. There are tax incentives and credits for that, and there are state and federal grants for that as well. It's not a little bit of work though. And so that is the part that Drive Clean can help you with. We can help you with, you know, we can help you write those grants. We can help your customer write those grants. You know, a lot of times you get the approval and the grant, which adds time to your project. And then the utility says, oh, it's going to be 6 months to a year before we can get that done. So these are long-term relationships that I know you're building just because of the nature of them and all of the players that are involved. I know that it must take so much patience to have to jump through all of the hoops that, you know, that you're jumping through. I do sense the frustration. So, but
Bonnie,
I would like to underline that there are grants. We can help you with that. A lot of the grants don't just cover the charger, they also cover all of the make ready and everything up to the charger as well. So that's the work that you're doing that your customers can get federal tax credits, state benefits, and other grants for. I can't make Excel move any faster in many cases though.
Bonnie, I
Oh,
was going to
I
say
absolutely understand.
Xcel Energy is also an IEC Rocky Mountain industry partner. And I know it's this there's so much that they do to support the industry and help us
Yep.
with, you know, energy audits and
Yep.
and sharing rebates, and, you know, particularly working with Partners in Energy and Clear Result, who are Xcel Energy partners. But this, the issues that our contractors are raising, and I love this, that you are sharing what your challenges are. This was exactly the kind of thing that Bonnie and I needed to hear so that we know what we can collectively, you know, dive in and work together on to get barriers out of the way. And, you know, is that policy? Is that regulatory? Is that just relationship development? We need to be able to break down those buckets for where to put, pardon the pun, our energy, you know, into resolving some of these barriers. I'm going to go to Rudy. It looks like, Rudy, you have questions. And then I think someone else had a follow-up. Oh, and it might not be Rudy, Mr. Garcia.
Yeah, that was me. We've been doing about 30 to 50 EV installations per month for the past couple of years. The biggest resource that we could use is if you could publish like a list or something of any rebates that any of the cities that are offering. I know Denver, we utilize Denver a lot. Their program's good. It's $1,000 for off the EV charger if it's up to 80% of the cost, and then I think up to $2,500 for a service upgrade, which is great. That helps sell it. The other thing would be for Drive Clean to educate the consumers of because it's so difficult for them to get money or rebates from Excel or from other places, what they end up doing is that they find a contractor that is going to do it really cheap. And those contractors that are doing it really inexpensive are not pulling permits. They're not doing the load calculations. They're not submitting any one lines to the city. So they're giving them installations that potentially could, do harm to their service or overload their service. So it'd be good to make sure that the consumers themselves have that knowledge of, yeah, it's the same problem that we used to have when people would go and buy a hot tub and in those parking lots and not realize how much it's really going to cost after they purchase something. But the cost of the internal cost of having to pull the permits, dealing with all the rebate stuff, having to send an electrician to wait for the inspector as well too the next day, that's all total cost that consumers just they don't realize. So I lose out on a lot of business because I have some electrician that's doing it on the side that's putting installs for like $800-900 when that's not even covering our cost at that amount. We did look into getting into Excel's preferred vendors or whatever to installers, but what they wanted to pay the electricians, like it was well below our cost as well too. So I'm not sure who they have installing. It must be like very, very small contractors that they utilize for their purposes. But for us, those are our two big hangups right now, is dealing with small contractors and being able to provide resources for our customers to find some sort of incentives. Because if not, it's just us trying to sell the company.
Yeah, I hear you.
So, you have raised a great question. And what's your company? I'm sorry, Mr. Garcia.
Sorry, yeah, I'm with Piper Electric.
Oh, great. Thank you. What you've done is raise not only like for the consumer education side, you've raised a personal and public safety issue. If you've got people that aren't, checking to make sure if they're just going for the cheapest I can get it done and they're not using, are they even using a licensed electrician if somebody's doing it for $800, right? So I think that this raises another side of the education piece, just based on the personal and public safety involved of I'm going to do your EV charger, but as Ashley said, can your panel handle it, right? And now you've got a fire or whatever happens. And so I think that that's something else that we need to make sure we're paying attention to as this as more and more EV chargers are installed. And I would like to say I guarantee none of those people are IEC Rocky Mountain members, but I don't think that our membership would support the scenario that you just described. So we're the education and training, the personal and public safety, and the policy and advocacy are just the three pillars of what our members really support. Thank you for raising that issue. Do we have other questions? I can't see now hand raises, but feel free to unmute or to add to questions that you might have. Bonnie, this has been great. Is there anything else that you that comes to mind that you want to share with our members? And we'll just keep doing this.
Yeah.
We'll drill down into questions that have come up on the forum today and continue some of the strategy that you and I talked about previously, and continue this opportunity to be together in person like this, and in public together at events.
Yep, agreed. No, I guess final words are, I would love to keep this dialogue going. This is extremely helpful to me to understand your pain points, because there are people that I can talk to. There are levers that Drive Clean can pull, and raising this up to the board of my organization can help address some of these things, because they're affecting you. This is affecting your job and ultimately affecting our ability to effectively get EVs on the road and have people be happy with them. So thank you for that. I appreciate all of your input on that, and please keep it coming.
Well, and again, back to the, we're just trying to make the pie bigger.
Yep.
We've got some very significant energy sector goals to reach in the state because of policies that have been set, and not just not just in the state but federally. And how are we going to make that happen in the right way? And back to the equity, that's that fair and open access and equity, in equity defined in a whole variety of ways.
Mhm.
That's the other thing I will mention is that we will share this out with the forum today with the forum notes. But October 24th, Bonnie and I are both going to be participating with Xcel Energy, Partners in Energy, and the Alliance Center that's doing a lot with workforce development around the energy sector. I'm going to be a panelist talking about equity and workforce development. And sort of what we're working on from there. And that's something that if you're interested in signing up, it is an in-person meeting. It won't be on Zoom, but we'll make sure that we share that invite in these notes for any of the contractors or partners on the call today that would like to be part of that dialogue. It's a panel presentation. And then if you've ever participated in an open space conference where the participants set the topics for discussion, that's what the second half of the meeting is going to be. So really great opportunity for dialogue on the 24th of October. While I have everybody and we have just a few minutes left, I will invite you to attend the State of the Industry dinner on November the 2nd. We have an AI innovation and impact in the electrical industry theme. Really cool, exciting keynote speaker. And lots of innovation stations and demonstrations about how AI is impacting the industry. So if you haven't yet registered, we encourage you to do that, and then hold the date for December 2nd, because that is our annual holiday party. And for contractors that are on the call, if you would like to pull one of the floats, we still have a couple of slots available if you want to pull one of the floats and get your message, you get your logo out there for the parade. And then just a heads up that National Apprenticeship Week is the week of November 13th. So an opportunity to embrace all that we're doing from an education and training standpoint, either internally in your company, and we'll be doing lots of celebratory things that week. With that, we will give you 15 minutes back of your time. Super appreciate. Yes, Ashley, we'll make sure we share that information with you. And super appreciate your engagement this morning and always in these member forums. Next month's forum in November is going to be a review of 2023 legal issues that you need to know coming into 2024 for your business, particularly some significant rulings that are centered around OSHA and labor and employment. So please plan to join us the second Wednesday of November for the next member forum. With that, thank you, everyone. Really appreciate your time this morning. Bonnie, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bonnie. Thanks, Marilyn.
Thank you.